So what's it going to take for the Seattle Seahawks to make the playoffs this season? What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hangover Monday. So, not that good, but got to pick up the pieces, got to keep moving forward, and we got to start the week off by talking about the big picture here. Well, the big picture in terms of this season, not the big picture in terms of this franchise long term. You know, that stuff I'd say is pretty good. I think even the people who aren't happy right now can mostly agree that the future on this team looks pretty good. We seem to have found the right head coach, and there are a lot of good things in place for this team going into 2025, but the season's not over yet, and there's a question that I know a lot of people are going to have. A lot of people probably already know because they looked it up themselves, but it's worth going over. Quite simply, what do the Seahawks need to make the playoffs? And I'm not going to get into a thing of whether or not the Seahawks deserve to make the playoffs or not. That's something that people have been talking about a lot lately. That's obviously subjective, and I don't really care to get into it. Either you make the playoffs or you don't. Maybe you don't deserve it and you get in. Maybe you deserve it and you don't get in. That happens all the time. I'm not really touching that. Either the Seahawks make the playoffs or they don't. And what is it going to take for them to get in? Well, first, let's keep it simple. Let's do the happy path. Let's do the happy path. Please like this video if you haven't already, by the way. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. So, I went through the NFL playoff machine as I often do. Normally, I would wait until after Monday Night Football, but I decided to just go ahead and do it now because this is when most people are going to be wondering about this stuff. And I went through all the remaining games, and I mostly went boilerplate. I picked favorites, and I didn't worry about it too much. Except Week 17, I have the Cardinals beating the Rams. And then Week 18, I have the Seahawks beating the Rams. If those two things happen, and the Seahawks, by the way, beat the Bears, obviously that, the Seahawks get in as the 4 seed with 10 wins. The Rams in this scenario would have 9 wins, actually finish in third behind Arizona. So, yes, that is one potential path to the playoffs, but we do not control it. And here's the problem. If the Rams win against the Cardinals in Week 17, then they get it. The Seahawks and the Rams would be tied atop the division at 10 wins, and the Rams gut out the tiebreaker. So, even if we beat the Rams in Week 18, doesn't matter. You don't get in, the Rams do. And you're nowhere near the wild card in this scenario, because here I have Washington and Green Bay getting the 6th and 7th seed at 12 wins, which is pretty ice cold, man. I mean, you want to talk about a tough bracket to crack. I mean, that's as hard as it's going to get in the modern NFL. So here's the thing. The 7 seed, as near as I can tell, is completely shut off to the Seahawks. I don't think anything can happen that will give them the 7 seed. Washington hasn't clinched yet, but I don't think they can lose it to us. Even if they lose out and Seattle wins out, Washington would win the tiebreaker, but Washington could still lose their playoff spot to Tampa. There's a tiebreaker scenario where they lose it to Tampa. They cannot lose that tiebreaker to Seattle. So as far as I know, there is no 7 seed. There is no 6 seed. There's no wild card. It's division or nothing. So here's the question that I have. Is it possible for the Rams to beat the Cardinals in Week 17 and Seattle to still win the division? What is this tiebreaker, and can anything be done about it? Well, Anthony Dabundo on X actually lays it out in very detailed fashion in this tweet. So check out Anthony, by the way. doing some good work over there. As he lays out, the tiebreaker is actually very obscure. Head-to-head will be tied in this scenario. Division will be tied. Conference record will be tied. Strength of victory will decide the NFC West champion. And the problem with Seattle is they have a significantly weaker strength of victory than the Rams. And you can do that by counting the wins. If the remaining NFL schedule goes as depicted, where the Seahawks and Rams win this week, and the Seahawks beat the Rams in Week 18, these would be the 10 wins that each team has. And you're looking at these top 5 teams for each, because those are the teams that they beat that the other team did not. That is what will decide this ultimate tiebreaker. And the problem that the Seahawks have, they have beaten some decent teams, but the Rams have beaten 2 elite teams, and that is making the difference right now. Because as you can see, Seattle's got wins over Denver, Atlanta, Arizona, Miami, and Chicago. 4 of those wins are at least respectable, and then the Chicago win would be whatever, obviously. But the Rams have beaten Minnesota and Buffalo, which overrides the fact that they've also beaten some very bad teams like the Raiders and the Saints. So in order to make this up, we need Seattle's uncommon 5 wins to move above the win total for the uncommon 5 wins for the Rams. And the only way that happens is if a lot of results go the way of the Seahawks in games that have nothing to do with them. Let's try to figure it out. Let's start with the Saints. Okay, let's start with the Saints. We would need them to not win. They play tonight. I already have Green Bay beating them, though, which should happen, admittedly. Then we look at Week 17 here. The Saints play the Raiders. Now, let's say we get the Raiders to get a win. They won this week, I guess. Why not? And then we go to Week 18. Week 18, who are the Saints playing? They're playing the Buccaneers. I already have the Buccaneers winning that game. So I flip that. Still, Rams win the division. Okay. Now, let's move along to a team like maybe Minnesota. Minnesota. Who do they play the last 2 weeks? They have, where are they here? Excuse me. The Packers. Let's say the Packers get their upset. Okay. That's definitely going to help a little bit, but it's still not enough. And then you go to Week 18. They play the Lions. They could lose that game. Can't rule it out. Let's say the Lions win that game. All right. So the Vikings now have fewer wins than I initially prescribed them. Still not enough. Still Rams in the 4 seed. Let's go to the Seattle side of things, because the opposite is also true. It's not just enough for the Rams uncommon 5 wins to lose. We need our uncommon wins to win. Like, for instance, Denver. We need Denver to win their games. So in Week 18, they play the Chiefs. Let's say the Chiefs rest their starters. The Broncos get the win. Okay, you're pushing it in the right direction. I believe, already have them winning in Week 17 here. Yes, we do. Not enough. Sorry, my head's actually blocking it. But the Rams are still holding the 4 seed, even with that. Okay, let's go to another team listed here. Let's go to Atlanta. Okay, we beat Atlanta. I think the Rams in Atlanta did not play this year. Who does Atlanta have? They have Washington. Let's say they beat Washington. They could do that. And the last week, who does Atlanta play? Carolina. I already have them winning that. Oh, we did it, guys. Check it out. Seattle's now the 3 seed, and Atlanta wins the division. Atlanta is now winning that division, and Seattle, not only do they jump the Rams and now win the division, but we also have the 3 seed. So, okay, we got there. That's one way of doing it. We need Denver to keep winning. We need Atlanta to keep winning. And we need teams like the Saints, the Vikings to keep losing. Now, it's not the only path. Understand that, right? Like, for instance, let's flip some of this stuff back. Let's say that the Vikings beat the Packers. You can see that now we're out. So what's another way we can make up a win? What about Miami? Who does Miami play their last 2 games? They play the Browns. I already have them beating the Browns. And then they, in the last week, play the Jets. I already have them beating the Jets. So we've done what we can there. What about the Bears? Well, I can't have the Bears beat the Seahawks. That defeats the whole purpose. So what's going on in Week 18? They're playing the Packers. Do you really think they're going to beat the Packers? No. If they did, that would flip it. But that seems like a little bit of a long shot. What about the Bills? What if we could get the Bills to lose a couple of games here? Who do the Bills play? Week 17. We've got them playing the Jets. That seems like a lot to ask. And we've got them playing the, I think they play the Patriots. Again, it's a lot to ask. If it happened, we'd get the 3 seed. You can see it again. But that is asking quite a bit. We got the Niners here. I guess you could have the Niners continue to lose games, but I already have them losing out. I have them losing to the Lions. I have them losing to the Cardinals, which we desperately need, by the way. That switch being flipped already is crucial to this whole thing playing out. What else is there, really? What else is there? Arizona, I believe, I already think they're going to win out anyway. I mean, win out as much as they could for this scenario to take place, because the last game they beat the Niners. So we've already gotten as much help from them as we can in this scenario. So what's left? I guess Vegas is left, right? That's it. Right, who does Vegas play? They play the Chargers, Week 18, and then they play the Patriots. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the wrong team here. I mean Raiders, not Chargers. I'm looking for the Raiders here. They play the Saints. So, in reality, actually, the Saints and Raiders cancel each other out. So, in actuality, this Saints-Raiders game, I believe, doesn't actually make a difference because both teams have lost to the Rams this year. So, I guess we can maybe cross that one off as mattering for us. But you can see the paths. There are several. Most are unlikely. There is a door that can open up that involves games that have nothing to do with the Seahawks going the way the Seahawks need them to. So if you want to know how Seattle wins this obscure tiebreaker, it means that the teams listed here on the right need to lose, or I guess not win. I don't know how they handle ties. Like, that'd be interesting, right? If the Raiders and Saints tied, what then? And then you have these teams, you need them to win as much as possible. So it's a tightrope. You're going to need probably at least one non-trivial upset. It is on the table, though, so don't get it in your head that this can't happen. Something to think about as we go into next week. So here's what I would say. First, we really need the Packers to win tonight, bottom line. If the Saints win tonight, then I would kind of be demoralized with this happening to the point where I would kind of stop thinking about it. Like, you can't even get the layup. You need to at least hit your layup, right? Going into week 17, I would definitely root my butt off for the Broncos and really root my butt off for the Falcons. That's a big one. And I would say we want the Lions to win very badly. And then you get to this week 18 one. You need the Cardinals to win. And you'll be on your way, man. You will be on your way. And that could be even with the Rams winning in week 17. But this is not something to bet your sanity on. But at least it's something to think about. All right. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. This is the best I can figure it. These are the only ways. There's no more wild card as near as I can tell. I couldn't get the wild card to flip. So Let me know what you guys think. Go Hawks. I'll talk to you guys later today. Many more videos coming. We have a tight schedule this week.